We'll begin in Shavasana. Noticing all the places where the body connects to the floor. Notice how your legs turn out, perhaps differently, one from the other. Notice how the sacrum connects to the ground. The triangular bone at the base of the spine is below the lower back, above the fleshy part of the buttocks. Sensing, if you can, the orientation, the surface contact sacrum makes with the ground. Notice how much space there is between lower back and floor. And then sensing the relationship between the pelvis and the rib basket. If they seem level, if the ribs seem to be up toward the ceiling relative to the pelvis. Breath breathing you. Notice where you feel your breath in your body when you just allow yourself to be breathed. Noticing the shoulder blades on your back, how they've landed, how they connect to the floor. Perhaps one differently from the other. And then notice the point of the back of your head, where that connects to the ground. So is it like down low at the back skull? Is it more up toward the top of the back skull? Or you could sense it in a different way as how much the chin is lifting up. So is it kind of tucked down toward the chest, or is it more angled up toward the ceiling? Just sensing how your head lands and its orientation relative to the floor. Sensing your body as a whole. Breath breathing your body. Rise and fall of your breath. Now we'll begin our movement inquiry by planting the feet about hip width apart. Arms can come out to a T if that's comfortable. They could come out to cactus shape if that's comfortable. They could stay more alongside the body if either of those other two options create discomfort in the shoulders. So we'll start with our spinal undulation. As you exhale, press your lower back down into the ground. And as you inhale, make a gap between the lower spine and the floor. So arching the spine away from the ground. The pelvis stays down. We're rocking toward the tailbone. Let the breath drive the movement here. Exhaling, feel the abdominals engage. So like the whole abdominal wall drawing back toward the floor and the spine pressing into the floor. And then making a little gap between the lower spine and the floor. Let's add on here a little more intention. So when you exhale and press the spine down, press the heels into the ground more. You could try sliding feet a little further away from you so they're not directly under the knees. That might help you get a little bit more ability to root through the heels. So inhale is the same. Let the belly inflate. You don't have to make that happen. Just don't hold the belly in when you inhale. If you want, you could lift the toes, though I think maybe let's keep toes down for today. But see where you want to go with it. And then just adding a little bit more to that exhale action. So we press the spine into the ground, press more through the heels, and just start to lift the tailbone, sacrum, top of the pelvis off the ground. So lower back is staying down, but pelvis is lifting. With the exhale. So as you press through the heels, try squeezing your glutes, squeezing your buttocks more to cultivate that lift in the pelvis and deep abdominal engagement, deep core engagement. A couple more times. Gradually coming back to neutral spine. And let's slide the right leg straight. Left foot stays planted. Interlace your hands underneath your head, right at the base of the skull. Let the elbows drop. And from here, we're just going to work with the right leg initially. So we're going to slide the right leg away. So you can push through your heel, pull your toes back toward you, and slide the back of the leg away from you toward that foot edge of your mat. Maybe do that on the inhale, and then exhale, relax the leg completely. Repeating. So maybe initiating the movement instead of from the foot, from the right hip, shift it down away from the right side of the rib basket. Inviting the stretch, inviting sensation all the way through the back seam of the leg, all the way up to the right side of the torso, between the ribs and the pelvis. So through the waist. Notice if the ribs are popping up toward the ceiling, try to keep them down. Adding the side scrub. So as you slide your right leg away from you, slide your right elbow in the opposite direction. So right elbow slides overhead and we're side bending to the left. You can do that on the inhale, exhale, Slide the upper body back to center and relax the right leg. Toes point up and pull back toward you when you stretch through the right leg. As you come into the side bend, slide the left elbow toward the left hip. If your ribs tend to flare, maybe do the movement on the exhale instead of the inhale. So you'll have a little bit more ability to draw the ribs in toward the midline, down toward the ground, and even down toward the waist. Feel free to pause at the end range if it feels good. You could take a breath here. Breathing into the right side. Adding on one more element is the unwinding. So we're taking that side stretch and then rocking also to the inner edge of the left foot. Left knee swings to the right. Everything comes back to center. And then repeat. You might take left foot a little more out to the left. See if that gives you a little bit more range of motion if you seek that. Pushing the inner edge of the left foot into the ground and reaching through the knee. So rather than just sending it across the midline, also reach it toward the right foot as the right foot reaches away from you. And you can engage left glute to help create that movement. So you could keep ribs down, or you could make it more of a back bend, more of a spinal extension. But it really comes more from the spine and less from the ribs popping up toward the ceiling. So potentially a lot going on here. Take your time. Couple more rounds. And once you get back to center, whenever that is for you, plant right foot, straighten left leg. You can even switch the interlace of the hands so we get out of doing things habitually the same way without even being aware of it. If you've never switched the cross of your hands, it usually feels like you're holding somebody else's hand. Eventually that feeling goes away the more you do it. So we'll start with just this side, this reaching, this SI release. So you stretch long through the left leg toward that far edge of your mat. And then just relax the leg in all effort. Pull the toes back, drive through the heel. Could even spread the toes. Sliding the back of the leg away from you. Maybe initiating the movement by sliding your left hip away from the left side of the rib basket. Notice if the ribs are popping up. If so, try to draw them in toward the midline, down toward the ground, down toward the waist. If you tend to get a lot of low back compression, that's gonna most likely feel really good. When you're ready, adding the side scrub. So we side bend to the right now, left heel and left elbow move in opposition. Take your time. Not rushing off to the next repetition before you even finish this one. Leg is heavy on the ground, just slide it away rather than lifting it up. When you feel inclined, add our unwinding movement. So the right knee drops in toward the midline. The foot stays on the ground, but we shift to the inner edge of the foot. So the outer edge of the foot lifts away from the ground. Rather than just bringing the knee straight across, try to angle the knee down toward the left foot. Really push the inner edge of the foot into the ground. And see what happens if you squeeze right buttock to do that, or with that. Notice where you feel sensation. Couple more times. Once you're back to center, plant both feet again and keep the hands underneath the head. Remember, it's at the base of the skull, so more in line with the hairline than in the center of the back of the head. Second spinal undulation here. As you inhale, make that gap between the lower spine and the floor and strongly root down through the arms into the floor. Maybe strongly, see what works best for you. And then exhale, lift your head, press the lower back down. Elbows squeeze together, shoulder blades lift off the ground, finding your rhythm. And just like we did at the start, when you exhale and curl up, try pressing more through the heels. Keep the toes down, keep the toe mounds down, but press the heels more into the ground. You might slide your feet a little further away from you. Feel that deep abdominal engagement. The sacrum can lift away from the ground with the exhale. Let's add a diagonal reach with the exhalation, coming across the midline. Without allowing the hips to shift side to side. Maybe it's a very small rotation. Couple more times. You could, instead of lifting the sacrum off the ground with the exhale, pressing it into the ground with the exhale. That's going to then create a little space between lower spine and floor. So very different approach, but fantastic approach, just different. It's a more mobility approach, mobility focused approach. Let's go about one more time each side. Full breath in, that's your opportunity to stretch and expand the belly before you engage it. After your second side, whenever that is for you, release all the way back into Shavasana. And just notice what you notice. Okay, let's plant the left foot and take the arms out to a T. And then let the left knee open out to the left. So rock to the outer edge of the foot. It's the Baddha Konasana shape. You can let the leg be heavy here for a moment. And then rock from the outer edge of the foot to the inner edge of the foot. And then foot leaves the ground as you bring the left knee over toward the right elbow. Notice the left shoulder didn't leave the ground. So I'm not needing to get the left leg all the way down to the ground or all the way up to the elbow. That's just the direction. And then we simply rewind. So bring the inner edge of the foot to the ground where it was before. Open to the outer edge of the foot. And repeat. So the left knee opens out to the left and then swings across toward right elbow. You might go a little faster than we might normally do. So we get this like sense of swinging, not too fast. Always being open to the pause. One more time, just like this. And then the next time you land the foot, keep the leg vertical. The left foot is planted just behind the right leg or in line with the left sitting bone. And the left leg is up rather than out to the side or in. You're gonna roll onto the right side from here. Keep the left leg where it is. So your bottom arm becomes a pillow. And you can take your top arm alongside your ear. Check in with your bottom leg and your alignment as a whole, that your pelvis is in line with your shoulders, is in line with your head. So there should be no hip hinge here. I like to use the back edge of my mat just to confirm that. So if that's helpful for you, your sacrum lines up with the back edge of your mat, and so does the back of your head. Seems like I always have to make an adjustment when I use that. Okay, so we're tugging on the top arm, or if that's not comfortable, arms can stretch separately. If your neck is uncomfortable, blanket between the head and the arm, blanket or pillow. And then a little more emphasis on this left leg, this bent leg, this planted foot. So push the foot into the floor, maybe a little more through the heel. Stretch the knee away from you. You can even engage the glute, squeeze left glute or both. So the leg is vertical rather than dropping inward. You could even kind of swing it a little bit back behind you. See how that feels. Ribs are in, not popping forward. Just our side lying stretch, yeah, with the leg variation. Mm-hmm. Last couple of breaths here. And then we're gonna roll onto our belly. So your belly down, your left leg is out to the side in this Baddha Konasana shape. And then try straightening the leg out to the side. So you decide if you just want to straighten the leg from the knee and let it be where it is, or if you want to slide the foot further up. You could make a connection with belt, left hand, left foot. Head is down. Tuck right toes under. Push through right heel. Energy through the right leg. Roll back onto your right side. So we're just rewinding here. Head's going on the right arm. You can plant your left foot back behind you again. So literally rewinding to where we were. And then we're going to extend the bottom leg out in front. So right leg out in front of you. This one's a little pretzel-y. I'm going to stretch the top leg the length of the mat and roll onto your belly. So it's a pretty big twist. It's kind of like a revolved, what's it like, a revolved triangle. So we're going to try to tuck. So left leg is the length of the mat. And if you can, you're going to tuck those toes under. Some of you might hold your right foot with your left hand or make that connection, though maybe the knee needs to be bent. That's up to you. And then you can rest your forehead down or rest the cheek down, or arms can be out to a T here. So we're trying to bring this left hip kind of down to the ground and turn the belly more to the right. Basically trying to face the floor more despite the leg position. You can stay right here, or we're gonna add spinal extension. We'll add our Sphinx variation. So it might actually feel a little bit better to come up rather than to be down. So taking hold of your elbows, elbows somewhere in front of your shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, really glide them down the ribs, chest rising. That's it. Notice if both shoulder blades are having the same kind of time coming down the back, or if you have to work one more than the other. Okay, as you lower down, come back onto your right side. And then maybe holding right foot with right hand or using the belt. We're planting left foot in line with the left sitting bone and opening left arm out to the left. So we're in this kind of Supta Padangusthasana variation that we just came into from the side. So right leg is stretched out to the right. If you have a connection with your hand or the belt, you can push the foot into the hand or belt and pull at the same time, so there's opposition. Left foot is planted with the left leg vertical, Same action we've been working. Try driving more through the heel, reaching the knee forward, squeezing left glute. And the belly is turning opposite the outstretched leg. So belly is turning to the left. We want to try to release left shoulder down. Right leg could be bent. Breathe into the back. Breathe into the sides. Okay, and then slowly, gently, don't rush out of these deep stretches in particular. You can release the legs and roll onto your back, coming back to Shavasana. So a pretty complex sequence here, making it even more important that we come back to center, come back to symmetry, come back to the midline, come back to the breath. Okay, for our second side, arms are out to the T, planting the right foot on the ground. And then we open the right leg out to the side, so rock to the outer edge of the foot, let the weight of the leg just go. And then rock from outer edge of the foot to inner edge of the foot. And then lift the foot off the ground and swing the right knee toward the left elbow. Bringing the inner edge of the foot to the ground, rocking to the outer edge of the foot, and back and forth. I don't mirror this work because I would get lost. It gets complicated. This kind of sequence. Maybe going a little faster than normal. So there's this kind of swinging feeling. That's nice for you. Feel this rocking across the sacrum. Shoulders are staying down. So I'm not concerned with getting the knee all the way to the elbow or all the way to the ground if it means I lose the shoulder connection. And then the next time the foot lands behind you, let's keep the right foot planted, right leg vertical, and roll onto your left side. Use the back edge of your mat so you can align the sacrum with the back of the head. You might find that your head has to come back further than you thought. And then we'll take hold of the top wrist with the bottom hand or arms stretching separately. Tug. Support your head if the neck is unhappy here. Activate the right leg in particular. Pressing the whole foot down. Press more through the heel. Stretch the knee away from you. Squeeze the glutes, especially right. Notice how you're breathing. Release the wrists. Keep the legs in this basic shape and roll onto your belly. So right knee is bent out to the right. Head is down. You could stay right here or straighten or straighter the right leg. So maybe the knee just stays where it is. You straighten from there. Or you can slide the leg further up, perhaps even connecting the hand to the foot, probably by way of a belt. So if you have to like side bend to get there, then let the belt help you. Or you don't have the connection, and that's okay too. You can tuck left toes under, push to the left heel, squeeze the left glute. Shoulders are relaxed. Okay, we're gonna rewind. So we come back onto the left side with the right foot planting just behind you. And then bring your left knee, your bottom leg in toward your chest. And extend that leg out in front of you. We're gonna straighten the right leg and turn onto the belly. So left leg is out to your right. Right leg is the length of the mat. If it's possible, try tucking your right toes under. So the right foot is vertical. And then lift and turn, belly to the left. And you can just have your hands stacked and the cheek on the ground. Arms can stretch out to a T. Maybe taking hold or connecting left foot to right hand. Be with your breath. Try and bring this right hip down toward the ground. Staying right here or adding a spinal extension, propping up onto your forearms with your hands on your elbows. Really draw the shoulder blades down the back. Make sure your elbows aren't behind your shoulders, closer to your waist. Really lifting up through the chest. Lower down, and as you do, return to your left side. So you can keep your legs where they are. Coming back onto your left side, you can support your head with you if you want with your arm, or you can connect left foot to left hand. And then we're stretching, well, what we did on the first side. So we planted right foot in line with the right sitting bone and opened right arm out to a T. So we're in the Supta Parangushtasana variation that we came into from the side. Really different feeling. So you're probably feeling sensation in left leg. Left knee could be bent. Push the foot into the hand or the belt. Resist with the hand or the belt. Drive the right foot into the floor, especially the right heel. Reach the right knee forward, away from you, squeeze right glute. Belly turning right. And then slowly, carefully releasing to Shavasana. Let's windshield wiper the feet. So feet wider than hips, heels stay on the ground, toes turn in toward each other, and then away from each other. Legs are straight, so it's windshield wiper feet rather than legs. You could do legs if that feels better for you. I mean, the legs are moving, but it's toes in, toes out. Go fast. Yeah. Shaking up, breaking up. Unconscious, subtle holdings, small muscles, faster, fast as you can. Don't resist the movement and the rest of the body. A little bit longer, soft muscles, so relax the thighs, the knees, the calves, the feet, the toes. And then you can come back to stillness. Okay, next we're going to use a bolster here. If you don't have a bolster, you'll place 2 blocks end to end, wide, low setting, and blanket on top. So we're making a bolster-like shape. We're going to place that across the mat in about the middle of the mat, on about the middle of the mat. And have your belt handy too. You might have your blanket handy to support your head, you might need that. Okay, so we're gonna start on the left side. So left hip is on the bolster or whatever you've created. Legs are straight. Try not to have the waist on the bolster. So hips and then it'll be like upper side thigh. Okay, so we're starting here in this passive side bend. Maybe stretching top arm alongside the ear. Some energy through the legs. You can try planting your top foot just behind the bottom leg. Weighting into the foot a little bit and leaning back a little bit. This one's a little bit more exploratory, so go slow here. Can lean back a little and see how that feels. Press the foot into the floor. Try pressing more through the heel. Maybe foot slides a little more away from you to kind of get a better grip with the heel. Squeezing the glutes, squeeze right glute especially, and reach the knee away from you. Release your wrist. We're going to take a side lying Anantasana. So this is what you probably need your belt for. We're taking the belt around the top leg or top foot and stretching the leg up. So, yeah, exactly. Once you get situated, see if you can kind of walk the bottom side of the ribs like a little further away from the bolster. So lengthening out through the left side. And then, of course, notice if you're tipping back, which we probably all kind of tip back. So really squeeze the glutes here and try to bring the sacrum more out in front of you. Externally rotating the top leg, the aerial leg. So inner thigh rotates out. Feel free to bend the knee, particularly if you're feeling it primarily in the knee. Make sure head's not in front of the rest of you. Bottom leg is active. That's going to help you keep stable. Yeah, bottom leg. Imagine you're pushing the bottom foot right into a wall. And down to the ground. So it might be tempted to like pop up. Try not to let that happen. Last couple breaths here. Notice if right shoulder is kind of rising up to the ear, bring the shoulder blade down. So that's especially possible if you're not using a belt, that you're kind of losing shoulder alignment. So if you've got a belt or scarf or anything, use that instead. Okay, we're gonna ease out of this, go slow in your transitions, and you can just roll to the other side. I'll turn around. So right hip is on the bolster. You could just do a pile of blankets if you don't have blocks. Firm is better. Try not to have your waist on the bolster, so it's the hip instead of the waist. Bottom arm is a pillow. Reaching top arm alongside the ear. You can get your wrist for traction if you want. This leg might be tempted to pop up. See if you can bring it down. Check that your head's not in front of the rest of you. Keeping this basic stretch, let's just plant the top foot. So planting left foot if you're on your right side, behind the bottom leg. And then you can weight into it a little bit and lean back a little bit. Just go slow and see where's a good place to stay and breathe. And of course, we're doing the same thing we've been doing the whole class with this left leg, which is engaging the glute, stretching through the knee, and pressing the foot, especially the heel, into the ground. Head is heavy. Okay, and then eventually coming back to stack the hips for Anantasana. Probably using your belt so the shoulder can stay aligned. Belt around the left foot, the top leg, top foot, stretching the leg up toward the ceiling. At this point, I always feel like I want to kind of slide, stretch the ribs a little further away from the hip. So that whole side body kind of gets a little closer to the floor. And then we want to try to keep the hips stacked here. So engage the buttock muscles. Try to bring your sacrum more out in front of you. Left leg could be bent, and we're externally rotating the left leg, inner thigh rotating out. Imagine you could push your bottom heel into a wall, and a little down toward the ground as well. Very slowly and carefully removing the belt, releasing the leg. From here, we're going to come onto our backs with the bolster under the pelvis. So we're coming into a supported bridge. So if you don't have a bolster, or you can use a block, bolster is really nice though, or you could pile up some blankets here. So again, have your lower back free of the bolster. So the lower back can drop down, and then option to straighten the legs, the heels on the ground. Maybe the arms are just kind of around the head where they land on the floor, or you can take hold of your elbows, try to kind of walk the spine a little more up toward your head. Even though you're supported, you can engage the glutes to help support the back. Push through the heels. Bring the ribs in toward the midline, down toward the ground, and even a little bit down toward your waist. See how that feels for you. Okay, and then gradually here, we'll plant the feet, lift the hips, slide the bolster down, or you can slide your block out of the way, but if it's bolster, just slide it down so the pelvis comes down to the ground and your thighs are supported by the bolster. So here's the end of our very long floor sequence today. Just observe and absorb here. This could be the end of your practice. It's a relatively complete practice. So if you felt inclined to end your practice now, I would just stay a bit longer in Shavasana. I always think it's important to do some weight bearing after this floor work if it's in your time and energy kind of scope. Otherwise, you might kind of feel like a zombie coming out of practice. So either staying where you are in Shavasana for a bit or coming all the way up, take your time, bend your knees, roll to your side, rising up. If you've been on the carpet, we'll place a mat down now. Or if you had a blanket on your mat, remove it, set the bolster aside, and we're gonna come to all fours. So knees or hips width apart, either beneath the hips or a little bit shied in. And now let's come down onto the forearms. So elbows are directly beneath shoulders. And if it's available for you, the hands are planted shoulder width apart. So we're gonna do a little cat-cow here. Try to initiate each end of the movement from your pelvis. So you can start by tipping the pelvis forward, dropping the belly, lifting your chest, lifting your head. This is cow pose. And then from the pelvis, tuck under, arch the spine around the spine up toward the ceiling, and then head drops last. Finding your rhythm here. See if you can go pretty slow so you can really articulate this wave-like motion through the spine. And then we'll make it a more like a circular cat-cow. People call this barrel rolls. So you can imagine your torso is in a cylinder of some sort, and you're trying to brush the sides, the insides with your ribs. So if that's confusing, you can start in either cat or cow and then shift the ribs over to one side and then up to either cat or cow, whatever you didn't do, and then shift the ribs over to the other side. Try going in the other direction. Spiraling back to center. Come back up onto your hands. Wrists are directly beneath the shoulders. And bring your knees in a little bit in front of your hips. And once again, cat-cow. Initiate from the pelvis. Let it wave up the spine. Going slow. Articulate. One vertebra at a time. Go even slower where you feel like the spine is moving as a unit rather than as individual bones. Okay, coming back for a moment to neutral spine. Tuck your toes under. Next, we'll go from cow to child. So we'll go from the spinal extension where we're dropping the belly and lifting the chest back to child's pose. So you can keep your hands where they are, or they can slide forward in your child's and then back so they're under the wrists. Remember, in our cow, we're tilting the pelvis, rolling through the spine, head moves last, and then kind of go through cat to get to child. So really tuck the pelvis under around, and then nose isn't going to get toward the knees, but deep rounding in this child, like your nose could go toward your knees. So that's the direction. And a couple more times. After this next child's pose, come back up to all fours with neutral spine. And then let's stretch the legs back to come into plank pose. Head is in line with the rest of the spine. We're pushing the floor away, but also finding a little bit of softening, a little bit of retraction between the shoulder blades. Glutes are engaged. We're dialing the hands outward. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now there's no retraction in the shoulder blades, and we're really strongly pushing the floor away. Knees can be bent here. Let's go back and forth a couple more times. Inhaling forward to plank. Take your time, really establishing all that alignment, active through the legs. And with your exhale, lift from the belly to down dog. If there's any rounding in your spine or your shoulders in your down dog, it's really important that you keep your knees bent. Ribs stay in, especially in down dog. The next time you come into down dog, let's meet there. Remember, you're dialing your hands outward, pushing the floor away. And now we're all going to bend the knees a ton. Bend your knees. We're still lifting the hips, so try not to drop the hips at all. I mean, they're going to lower, but the energy is still up, up, up through the hips. Keep pushing the floor back. See if you can bring your shins parallel to the floor, and then push the floor away some more. So it's like chair pose, yeah? Long line of energy from crown of the head to tailbone, ribs in. So lift the ribs away from the thighs. And then from here, just lower your knees down to the ground. And we're going to come to sit on a block or two. 3 if you need it and have it. So you can do 1 block in a squat, then go for 1 block. If you need to, you can do 2 low setting. You could probably even get away with like a low and a medium. I'm going to do high setting. So I'm going to do 1 block, wide, medium. That's me. And I'm sitting on it. Okay, so feet are close together, knees are close together, feet are close to the block rather than out in front of you. Where are we at? Good. Okay, so once you get settled in here, once we do this, you might decide you want an extra block. So spread the toes, you can even use the fingers to help spread out the toes. Really feel into your feet and start to press more into your heels. You can do any of this, it doesn't have to be all or nothing here. So maybe you stay right here. Next, we're going to reach the arms forward, and we're really reaching forward. So the shoulder blades are protracting. We're not trying to plug in and squeeze anything between the shoulder blades. It's the opposite motion. Reach, reach, reach forward with your arms, and then let that translate into a lean forward so you feel like more weight is going into your feet. Press more into your heels and see if you can come up off the block into chair pose. Keep reaching the arms forward. Maybe arms reach up alongside the ears. You could use a chair as well if the block just, or 2 blocks even, seems ridiculous. You can use the chair, and then from here, we're going to keep the knees bent. Bring the belly to the thighs, fingertips to the floor, and then straightening the legs somewhat. You don't have to straighten them all the way. Let the head hang. Okay, and then we're going to rewind here. So start to lower your pelvis down. And as you do, lift the belly up off the thighs, reach the arms forward. Arms can stay forward or up alongside the ears in chair pose. Keep stretching actively through the arms and ease the sitting bones back down to the ground. More weight in the heels is usually going to feel better for your knees. Let the arms release down for a moment. And then we're just going to go one more time to come on up. So attention to the feet. Press more into the heels without losing your toe connection. Reach the arms forward. Really reach the arms forward. So much so that you hinge a little more and start to lean forward. Press more into the heels to come up off the block. Arms can stay where they are or stretch up alongside the ears. Keep the knees bent. As you hinge more, fingertips to the ground, maybe legs get straighter. And then probably bending the knees here. You can rise all the way up, sweeping the arms and bringing the arms down through this ocean of energy. Okay, we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold. You can use your block. Block or two here, folding forward. Block supporting basically like the hairline or a little further back in Prasarita Padottanasana. So spread the toes, just kind of along with one of our themes today. See what it feels like to press more into the heels. Maybe even bend the knees, press more into the heels, especially outer heels and inner heels, but more outer heels. Maybe legs stay bent. Maybe you straighten the legs again. Okay, you can leave the block where it is and walk your hands so they're underneath your shoulders. And then bend into your left knee and bring your left hand to your left thigh, just above the knee, with the fingers turned in. So we're bending left knee, right hand is on the ground, pretty much beneath right shoulder. Left hand is on left thigh, just a little encouragement, not force, but a little like, hey, left knee, move a little more to the left if you can, but we're still active through the right leg. So try not to lose your right foot grounding. Press more through the outer heel. And if you want, you can turn your torso kind of into it to the left. Gaze can be down or nose in line with sternum. So it's not a huge twist here. Notice that the ribs are dropping forward. Bring them in toward the back body. You might get a little more rotation if you do that. And gently releasing here. I'm mirroring. It's easier when you're standing. Left hand beneath left shoulder or whatever your second side is. Bending the right knee, right hand to the right thigh. I like the fingers turning in here. So left knee is, right knee is bent. And you're using your right hand to just like invite and gently assist the knee to move out to the side. So left hand is pressing into the floor here. That can even dial outward. And there's lots of energy through the left leg. So rooting through outer heel, stretching through the leg. And then maybe finding a little rotation, torso a little more toward the right leg. Bring the bottom of the rib cage toward the back body. So you're not kind of like hanging down there. They're really kind of integrated and stable. Gaze can be at the ground or nose in line with sternum, so it's not a big twist. It's more about the adductors. Coming back to center. One more time, bringing your head down to a block or two or three or the floor, and possibly taking hold of your outer ankles. There's a slight gathering of the shoulder blades onto the back, so we're not just dropping the shoulders, but we're also not doing like a massive squeezing retraction. From here, let's bring the hands beneath the shoulders to rise up, pivot either way, so you can just step back to touchdown dog. And then lower knees down to the ground. Come to sit, wide-legged, Upavishta Konasana. Consider sitting on the top of a blanket. And you could have your block or bolster handy. Take this wide seat here. Some of you might be better off staying upright. So if you're tipping back, we don't want to fold forward. The fold forward comes from the pelvis tilting forward, from the frontal hip points shifting forward relative to the pubic bone. Okay, so you decide, particularly if you have sciatica or any kind of disc issues, staying upright, even leaning back is recommended. And if not, you can fold forward, keep the toes upright, maybe supporting your head or your whole torso with a bolster or a block. So the head can stay aligned with the rest of the spine in order to keep the chest more open. Let's keep the legs really active here. Push through your heels. Knees can be bent. Thighs can press into the ground. Thighs can kind of hug in a little toward each other. See what that feels like. And then very slowly and carefully, when you are ready, you can rise up, bring your legs together out in front of you, and lie onto your back. So we're coming into Shavasana. But working with the bolster, so if it's handy and you'd like, you can place it underneath your thighs. If it's round, a cylinder bolster under the knees instead. Making any adjustments for your full release. Once you find your shape, just settle into stillness and rest here. Back into the river of breath. If you're ready, you can begin to reawaken, moving and stretching. Gradually rising up to a seat in your own time. So today's mudra is Shankha mudra. This is another sacral chakra mudra or Svadhisthana, very calming and stabilizing Shankha mudra. So we're going to take the left thumb and wrap the right hand around it, basically, right? Wrap the right fingers around it. And then wrap your left fingers around your right hand. And then finally, we're going to connect the right thumb with the index, middle, and ring fingers. Okay, so we're gripping the left thumb with the right hand and touching the right thumb to index, middle, and ring finger on the left hand. You can just relax your shoulders, relax your elbows, holding the mudra out in front of you comfortably. Close your eyes if you like. Notice what you notice. Maybe you feel silly or stupid. Maybe there's this kind of energetic hookup. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And perhaps repeating either silently or aloud the affirmation. Self-reassurance guides me to perfect well-being. Self-reassurance guides me to perfect well-being. Maybe changing slightly the wording to help it resonate for you. Self-reassurance guides me to perfect well-being. And then changing to Anjali Mudra, hands palms together at heart center. Just bowing to yourself that you took this time to nourish yourself, to be with yourself, to love yourself. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.